allegiance to the flag of the United States, to the republic for which justice for Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Minutes were sent out to us from the previous meeting. Additions or corrections to the minutes?
Move to approve the minutes as presented.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Olson, second by Commissioner Heiser to approve the minutes. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Approval of agenda. We have quite an agenda this morning and afternoon, I guess. Al, anything?
No.
Nope.
David? And I don't either. For a motion to approve the agenda?
I so move.
Motion by Dave, second by Commissioner Freeman. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay. Get started with the engineer reports.
Good morning.
Good morning, Carl.
Morning.
Gonna be brief for you guys today. I know you got quite the agenda, I see. 92nd Avenue project, we're just working on gathering the final easements. Just a few left to wrap up there. Road portfolio is assisting with obtaining the last contested easement. Once we have that, we can move forward with identifying a bid date. Also making a final review of the utility agreements for that project as we anticipate the construction. There's one abandoned oil pipeline we just want to check on the clearances of. So 12th Street, pretty much same thing, working on those final easements. Also checking on our utility agreements for those. Make sure nothing's changed in the last year. I do anticipate a bid opening in 25 for that project as well. 16th Street, we have the one unavoidable cultural site along the projects. We're looking at some alternatives proposed for that to get through that site on that project. 20th Street, preliminary design has been completed and plan reviews are taking place. We do have a pretty favorable cultural on that project. We're working on getting the permit application put together as well as the plan sheet development for the project. 86th and 9th Street and 98th Avenue are pretty much in the same status. Finished with their preliminary design, putting the plan sheets together. We'll begin some internal reviews here soon, as well as putting the 404 permit applications together. 2026 projects, finishing up on the field survey on 79th, 94th is all complete. We'll begin the 14th Street after submittal and approval of the contracts for that one. Environmental and cultural surveys have been completed on the two. To schedule the 14th Street ones once we for sure move forward on that project. The design work is anticipated to begin sometime this summer. Any questions on any of those? That's all I have for you guys today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Morning.
Brief updates for you all as well. So we'll start with 119th Avenue Southwest. CSI is the contractor on that, and they're still planning for an early to mid-August start date, but it appears that this date is actually going to occur in late August. We had a meeting with them yesterday on a different project for a neighboring county. In the meantime, we've been pushing for the utility relocations to get done. Mackenzie Electric has yet to begin the relocation of their affected poles. We did get a hold of them yesterday, and they indicated they plan to start within the next 2 weeks. Also, Marathon Pipeline was out on Monday hydrovacing their pipelines to verify depths. We haven't gotten an official report from that yet. We'll continue pushing the utilities to get their work done to avoid conflicts during construction. Any questions on 119th? So moving along, at the last commission meeting on 99th Avenue Southwest, the commission requested an approximate construction cost for this project. We did crunch some numbers, and if you remember, this thing has a lot of cultural items that are on there that we had to do some special requirements for, including imported topsoil, borrow and geotextile fabric to separate the original dirt from the new borrow material. Estimated construction cost on that's around 1.6 mil. Is kind of what we figured out.
Does that include design and construction engineering?
Design's already basically completed. Construction, roughly like a budget number, you'd throw 10%, like on a DOT project. I think we'll do it for less than that. It's kind of contractor dependent depending on who you get out there. There were a couple additional requirements that the Corps had required. So they had wanted some cultural monitoring that was out there by the State Historical Preservation Office. Beaver Creek was kind of hard to get them to pin down, again, because it's contractor dependent. But for a budget number, it's probably about $10,000. And then we also had those wetland credits that we needed to address that we brought up last year, or last commission meeting. That was just under $40,000, $39,100. Sounds like they're ready to issue the permit on that, though, if we get that approved. So as long as we comply with the rest of that stuff.
You know, this is one of them projects I think Lori did a traffic count, what we got, like a half a car a day. And we're going to spend $1.6 million. I don't know. It seems like it's a lot of money just for that. And I get it, there's environmental issues, but it's hard to warrant spending that kind of money. I mean, if you look at that 2 miles, James got a project, got 6 miles, and that's that same amount of money.
Yeah, and that's.
I don't know what the rest of the commission thinks, but I really struggle with that kind of money. 1.6, we got design and construction, so we're probably 1.8 or somewhere in there. That's pushing there near that 2 million a mile, or $1 million a mile. So, and I think there's like one person that lives on there, in a hired man for somebody. But anyway, that's just my opinion. So.
And again, we don't choose the projects, we just do them, so.
Yeah, apparently, I know Commissioner Pelton was on the road portfolio when this was determined to be a project, and the design, things have started, and I think we need to move forward to get it done. There was a reason that it was chosen by the road superintendent and the road portfolio holders at the time, so. I get the cost is significant, but I think we move ahead. It's been started, and let's finish it.
I think we're this far into it. It's hard to pull the plug on it now.
Your discretion.
I guess, you know, like I said, before we start some of these projects, we maybe need to research them a little bit better. So, but anyway,
Yeah,
I guess.
I think that's something for future.
Yeah.
Anything before
Yeah.
you put on the
And I think-
project list, do a little more research on the projects we're doing.
And we're kind of doing that now, so, but anyway. I agree, we've already invested the money into it rather than walk away.
More discussion, or? Well, actually, we probably should get a vote on those wetland credits. Are we gonna go forward and for permit? No, we didn't, we wanted to hear a budget last, we didn't want to get the budget number for this meeting and then we made actual motion on the wet.
Move to purchase the wetland credits for $39,100 for the 99th Avenue Southwest project.
Is there a second? I'll second the motion. Further discussion? Roll call?
Commissioner Heiser,
Yes.
Commissioner Olson,
Yes.
Commissioner Kleeman,
Yes.
Commissioner Dalzell.
Yes. Motion carries.
Very good. So the next update is on Manning. So Brian from our water group's in the process of coordinating with Holly from Manning Waterworks regarding the easement compilation acquisition. Holly had gotten Brian a list of the Manning residents and the water users along with their legal land descriptions. So I believe what the intent is, and Holly was on vacation here in the last week, but I know she's back now, but I think the plan is to conduct a formal public meeting with citizens of Manning as well as Southwest Water and get these things signed and collected. But I think right now, I think some plans have been submitted to the Department of Environmental Quality. Needs approval on that before it gets installed as well. Any questions on Manning at this time? Okay, hearing none. So 2025 projects, so 3rd Street Northwest. We received the core permit for that project and we've begun the right-of-way acquisition. Superintendent Schwarzenberger and myself went out and met with a landowner who lives on the project where there's a large curve that follows the old Highway 7 alignment. So those owners have requested that we shift the alignment further away from the house, as they've already had ongoing safety issues and concerns with that original alignment since it was put in back in, what, the 1940s. There's also a drain field that they put in. It sits between 3rd Street and their home, which limits what we can do for grading out there too. So we've looked at realigning the curve. We've got it moved approximately 90 feet from the house. We're verifying the design criteria as far as making that 45-mile-an-hour design speed and the site distance. And I've sent Superintendent Schwarzenberger a profile of that, as well as the landowner, and waiting to hear back on that. Questions on 3rd? Okay, hearing none. So 7th Street, for both 7th Street projects, it's the same update. So we had submitted for the core permit a while ago, and the Corps has been in touch with us regarding the wetland impacts for the permits. So we're working with them through those items, and we should secure the permit shortly. And once we receive here and Superintendent Schwarzenberg gets back, we'll begin the collection of right-of-way for that project too. Regarding the 2026 projects for 115th Avenue and 1st Street, we had sent a preliminary alignment to the county for review, and we're working with Beaver Creek. We have one landowner who's out there that has concern regarding cultural surveys as far as what that does to potentially limit for a use of the property. So we had some meetings with Beaver Creek as well, and this property owner, what she's requesting is that the original alignment that's out there, which is not on the section line, and if you guys recall, one of the things that we do when we do projects is we try to get the roads back on the section line. We're requesting that we still keep it where it is, which is about 12 to 14 feet to the west of the true section line. Talked with Terry about that a while ago, and I think that's the way we're going to proceed. When he gets back, I'll confirm again, but that's the way to go forward on that one. Again, we had sent Terry a preliminary alignment, so we've got both of those options, one with on the section line and one with the shift, and we'll review more with that when he returns. So also on here, I have 85th listed as well as Rodeo Road, and I think you guys will probably talk about those today in your budget stuff. So any questions on any of those?
Oh, I don't believe so.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Darren. Hello, James.
Morning, Madam Chair. Morning, Commissioners. Updates are also pretty brief. 27th Street pre-construction conference was held on July 2nd. Contractors since moved up the proposed start date to July 21st. Surveyors have been on site this week and plan to stay ahead of construction pretty easily. That's the hope there. 109th, not much has changed. Everything's delivered to the county, so we'll wait to hear back. On South segment, still putting finishing touches on those plans as we haven't gotten any direction on design changes. So we're just going to put the finishing touches on all those documents and hand those in. And on North segment, kind of the same thing. Preliminary plans have been submitted to the road department. Looking forward to working with them and on the design comments and easement acquisition on that.
I think there's been some conversations. I know Craig had some conversations with landowners there. I think this north segment, I think we can probably get that thing kicked off. I think there was just one request. One adjacent landowner would like a cattle guard along the way somewhere to split a pasture, which I don't think is probably an issue. So hopefully we can get them secured real soon.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, James.
Thanks.
Morning.
Morning.
Got a few updates and a couple pay estimates to present. Construction projects, the 119th and 22nd Street. That project was bid earlier this spring. They're looking at starting sometime in August. So we've been doing some staking and some utility adjustments, coordinating with utilities to get that one ready, but they're looking at August starting date for that project. 105th Avenue being built by Bronco Brothers Construction. We do have pay estimate is number 5. The amount is $69,749.65, which I would recommend payment in that amount to Bronco Brothers for that project.
Madam Chair, I make a motion to pay Bronco Brothers $69,749.65. Pay estimate number 5.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Heiser, second by Commissioner Olson to pay estimate number 5 to Bronco Brothers in the amount of $69,749.65. Any further discussion? Roll call?
Commissioner Heiser,
Yes.
Commissioner Olson,
Yes.
Commissioner Kleeman,
Yes.
Commissioner Dolzall.
Yes. Motion carries.
And then just a brief update on that project. They have about 4 of the 6 miles mostly complete. They might do some seeding and some other things. There's also a box culvert to install in those 4 miles, but roughly 4 of those 6 miles are rough graded out anyway. Next project, 98th Avenue and 4th Street. That project's looking at starting sometime in August also. That was bid in May, but they're looking at August starting date. 97th Avenue over by Dunn Center. We have another pay estimate for that project. It's pay estimate number 3. Amount is $95,367.01, which I would recommend payment to Jensen Brothers in that amount.
Madam Chair, I make a motion to pay estimate number 3 to Jensen Brothers for the amount of $95,367.01.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Heiser, seconded by Commissioner Olson to pay estimate number 3 to Jensen Brothers in the amount of $95,367.01. Any discussion? Roll call?
Commissioner Heiser,
Yes.
Commissioner Olson,
Yes.
Commissioner Kleeman,
Yes.
Commissioner Dolzall.
Yes. Motion carries.
Kind of a brief update on that project. They should finish the grading either late this week or early next week. And then the next phase would be the cement treat subgrade. So if the weather doesn't cause any delays, that should start next week for the cement treat. And that might take a week. But like I said, most of it is rough graded out by the end of this week. Another project that was bid at Pinewood Meadows subdivision, bid at the last meeting. Northern Improvement has indicated sometime August, maybe even September starting date for that project. So that one's out the door, ready for construction, but right now we're looking at August or September. Some of the other active design projects we're working on is 10th Street, 113th Avenue, and 7th Street, kind of northwest of the mountain there. That bid opening is today at 10 o'clock. Our estimate is about $7.5 million for that project. So we'll see how many bids we get. We're anticipating 4 or 5 bids for that project, and we'll see where the numbers come in at, but I think we got a pretty good estimate on that project. Another project that we're going to bid very soon is that 3T in the JR's industrial subdivision. We have that bid opening set up for next meeting at 10 o'clock. So that's August 6th bid opening for that project. Other than that, I don't have many other updates. The 114th project and 104th, we're looking at a fall bid opening for those projects. Construction may happen this year, but it's getting kind of late in the season that they probably won't be complete this year, but they may get started this year for construction. One little last little bit of an update on the miscellaneous. We're working with Terry to identify some potential projects for flex funding. We talked about that a little bit at the last meeting and kind of helping him with some budget numbers and trying to pick projects for that. So the application deadline as I think middle of September or end of September. So we'll work with Terry and his staff over the next several weeks to identify projects and get applications sent in. So any questions, I'll certainly be around at 10 o'clock for the bid opening.
Thank you, Jeremy.
We should get Highlands on there too. He's down here on there. He's working on 114 and other, his project you're designing.
Good morning, Commissioners. Thank you, Al. Andrew Schrank with Highlands Engineering. We have two projects here we'd like to update you guys on. The first is our 15th Street Southwest and 118th Avenue Southwest design project. We have our survey complete on that. We met with the county at the start of this week to talk about some of the design parameters, typical section, right-of-way coordination, and things like that. We're working the next few weeks here to get a preliminary design put together so we can start meeting with landowners and seeing what their requests may be for that project and starting some of the right-of-way negotiation. We're also planning to start our wetland and aquatic resources and RKey surveys soon as well. The other project to update you guys on is 14th Street Southwest, just south of Manning here on the west side of Highway 22. We started helping out the county with some limited construction administration on that at the end of July. I'm sorry, the end of June. That project is progressing well. The contractor has finished a majority of the grading. They're replacing topsoil and actually have topsoil on about 90% of that project. They're going to start seeding and erosion control next week. Northern Improvement is planning to finish up the approach onto Highway 22. There's just a little bit of pavement there. They're planning to finish that tomorrow. We did have some rock excavation through some hills out there that we've been measuring. There's also some muck excavation that we've been measuring along the box culvert that'll be paid through the PS1. And we do have a payment application number 4 for that project in the amount of $215,883.95. And that's for work through July 5th. And we would recommend approval of that payment to Edward H. Swartz Construction.
Madam Chair, I make a motion to pay Edward H. Swartz $215,883.95.
There's a second.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Heiser, seconded by Commissioner Olson to pay Schwartz Construction, pay estimate number 4.
Correct.
Yeah, $215,883.95. Further discussion? Roll call?
Commissioner Heiser,
Yes.
Commissioner Olson,
Yes.
Commissioner Kleeman,
Yes.
Commissioner Dolzall.
Yes, motion carries.
That's all I had, Commissioners. Thank you.
You.
That Mike?
Well, I am Terry today. So did you want to start with the budgets a little early?
Do you
or-
have any permits?
I do, but it's the one that's on the
Oh,
agenda
okay, sure.
for later. I think it's at 9:45.
Okay.
But other
Yep.
than that, any other questions?
Guess not. So go ahead.
Okay, so I worked with Terry quite extensively on this budget. I can answer most questions, I think. Pretty much everything stayed the same. For engineering fees, I know we had $1 million budgeted last year for that. We are bringing that down to 100,000 because with our new system, the accounting system, we make a code for each project that we get. So anytime I get a new project, it goes into the actual code for that project. So engineering fees are just for miscellaneous engineering that they don't really have a place to go. So we thought 100,000 would be sufficient for that. Any other changes? We went down a little bit on the equipment from 2.5 million to 2.225. They're anticipating needing to replace a couple of blades, a loader, a semi, and they want to update some snow blowers and equip the sand truck. Let's see what else. Federal aid projects, we're trying to figure out how much we're going to need for the Little Mo slide project. Not really sure. So we brought that down a little bit because it didn't sound like we were going to need as much as we had budgeted last year. Everything else kind of stayed the same. And as far as projects go, we went through every project line by line and tried to figure out how much more we were going to pay yet this year and how much was going to need to go into next year. So there's a few projects that we were discussing that we might want to just remove completely from the list. 4th Street Northwest being one of them. We aren't seeing any movement on that one, so I guess it would be up to you guys if you wanted to just scrap that project completely. There's a few of them that we were talking about making into small projects instead of a large. And then there's a few of the projects that we thought might happen in 26 that we moved into 27 just to get the budget to be reduced a little bit. Any questions for me specifically?
I don't know how the commission feels, you know, we do these small projects. I know the county's got extensive equipment, you know, we got a nice scraper and a dozer. I just trying to figure out a way. I think help is hard to hire. If we could get a crew of guys, you know, in the springtime, because I don't think our scraper's turned the wheel yet this year. I'm not sure what it's going to take to hire more people, whether it's wages or what, but I would sure love to see that equipment being used in doing some of these small scale projects ourselves. I know we've got the talent to do it, but I think we're just short on help to get everything covered. So rather than have it just sit, so that's one thing we should try and figure out how we're going to work on. You know, we look at one question I have. You know, the 25 budget, the balance at the end of the year, does it roll over and be a beginning balance in 26? Okay, that was a question I had. I mean, if you look at this budget here, it's really a lot of money. So I don't know how we got to figure out through our process here how it's going to fit in with everything. I mean, so with all the funds.
So it looked like we had budgeted 45.6 million for projects in 25, but it looks like we're only going to spend almost 26 million only. So we'll have that remainder that we can push into the 26 projects.
So really, I think what it is it's that much less at the end of the year. Yeah. So the balance in that fund will be that much more than anticipated.
The beginning balance.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's another line item that we added this year that we've always been spending the money for rental equipment, because every year we rent about, I think it's like 6 tractors for 400 hours a year on it's a North Dakota Association of Counties contract that we get these tractors with. That was coming out of our machinery and equipment parts fund, and that we made its own line for 100,000. So that's new. It's not an additional cost that we're doing. It's just in its own fund.
Track it better that way.
So yeah, so we can track rentals a little easier.
Good idea.
So we've got a handful of projects that are listed as inactive right now on the engineer's reports or whatever. Are those still on here? Are the funds still allocated to go to those projects then?
They are on here. Let's see, which one would be a good example? Well, like Rodeo Road he's got that on hold. We didn't allocate anything for that. We haven't spent anything on it. And we're thinking of potentially doing small projects along there instead. So, yeah, 4th Street. Well, that was 4th Street. So that must be 4th Street Northwest, huh, Jeremy? Okay. So yeah, we were talking about scrapping that one. 104. Oh, the one up by the Little Missouri State Park. we marked on that one as well, making a couple small projects and versus the large project that we had on this list. And 109th. Same there, we were talking about possibly making those into smalls as well. So that'll be something that we have to decide if we're just gonna take them off the large project list completely. And then the 104th Avenue, the Cooper Road area. That one's been on the list for a long time. So we'll have to kind of decide what you want to do there. I think there's easement issues as well as archaeological sites, it looks like. So yeah, we looked at every single project and went through the engineer reports and tried to make our determinations on what we actually were going to spend next year.
So, and I think with the project we're bidding today, and if the progress goes along good enough, we'll bid it next year, so that'll take a good chunk out of, you know, for the pavement and for the grading.
Right, I
Of the
have that
project.
one split up into the 2025 and 2026. There it is. Being as that's probably not going to get a lot done this year, I'm not, you know, we talked to Jeremy about it. We've got the remaining this year at 3.75 million to pay yet this year, and then the remainder of that we're anticipating paying next year plus the paving for a total of 10.5 million next year. So that one will be split up a little bit. It's all anticipating what we're going to pay at the end of this year, you know. It could change, we could get more done.
Depending on the fall, we could go all
Right.
the way to Thanksgiving. Traditionally, that's what happens.
It's hard to
but
tell the
just never
future,
know.
but it's kind of how we anticipate it. If we pay more, then we'll just have to pay less next year, so that'll help next year.
Any more questions? It may be, you know, when it comes to budget, and I know Sally has to put it all together, you know, the 68 million might be a bit high.
I agree.
So we just have to kind of see how it works out. Especially oil prices kind of uncertain right now. You know, are we going to have much to allocate that much to the road projects? We don't know at this point. So a work in progress.
I looked at our list, and I believe we have 57 projects from the design phase all the way to almost completion. So we've got a lot of stuff going. We have a lot of things we can make decisions on.
Any more questions on the budget at this time? Maybe we can go ahead and do the permit. Are they here? Or not? Yeah, Rough Rider. Okay, sorry, there you are. Yeah, are you able to come forward? Sure, the microphone. For our online people.
Morning.
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 So I am here on behalf of Rough Rider. We are wanting to construct a transmission line from one of our existing substations called Snowy River to another existing substation called Knife River. And
Excuse me, could I have you get your name for the record?
oh,
Sorry.
yes, Taylor Van Dyke.
Thank you. Yes.
I sent the KMZ to Lori yesterday. I'm not sure if that's.
That didn't come through.
Didn't, okay.
I got it on the Google Earth,
Okay.
but it was too large for me to figure out how to upload it onto
Gotcha.
this. But I was able to use it and get your sites
Okay, perfect.
narrowed down. So
Yeah,
they're
so-
on here. I can switch it to.
So with this transmission line, and the reason typically Rough Rider will all new distribution crossings will be bored underneath roadways. And the reason that this one obviously is not is it's a 115,000 volts. It's a high voltage transmission line. And it's being put in to serve load growth in this area, as well as improve reliability. So we're able to connect now to two different sources to feed these new areas of load growth. And so, you know, as I mentioned, typically like for also in addition to like, you know, not being cost effective to bury transmission, it's a safety concern as well to have, you know, high voltage cable like that out kind of out of our control for dig-ins, stuff like that. So that's the reason that transmission is typically all overhead on our system. So.
Is it a pole or just a structure, big structure?
So yes, they're all single pole structures, but none of them would be within, you know, the county right away. It would just, basically what we're permitting is the wires crossing the roadways.
How high above the road surface are you guys gonna be?
So, right around 30 feet. I think there was one in here was like 29.7 if I remember correctly, but typically like 30 feet is where we shoot to be above.
One question I would have is that the route of this transmission line, maybe is there any scheduled projects? So if, and I don't know if it's possible, if you can bury a pole deeper, so if we come through a cut section, we can just take the cut out and not disturb the pole, or, I mean, just kind of curious. I haven't seen a route, and it's something we'd have to.
Excuse me, there is, all the projects are listed on this map, and there isn't any in the line of this.
Okay. So we don't have to worry down the line, we should have done this because of this, but if there's no project plan, then it'll be fine.
Yeah, and I mean, as mentioned, if we could get the landowner to agree, you know, I mean, we tried to hold that 75-foot minimum anyways. And then where there was no road present and basically two-track, we held the statutory, you know, I think we were at 40 feet away from the section line on.
Thank you.
Any questions? So yeah, it's been the county's policy that any overhead lines over county right-of-way that they come in and present what they're proposing. So I guess we'd need a motion to approve.
I'll move to approve the utility permit.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Olson, seconded by Commissioner Kleeman to approve Rough Riders overhead permit. Any more discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
Thank you.
Yeah,
for your
thank
time.
you for coming in.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it. Okay.
Thanks, Laura.
Anything else? Oh, I guess that about does it. Anything else?
I'm good.
Okay,
Thank you.
all right, thank you.
Thanks, Lori.
Well, why don't we take a little break before our 10 o'clock bid opening? There was only that one utility.
You like that?
Total bid all items, $5,109,655.99. $5,109,655.99. Here, next bid is from Edward H. Schwartz Construction. Total of all bid items, $5,787,922.17. $5,787,922.17. Here, our next bid is from Martin Construction. Total bid, all items, $5,792,540.46. $7,792,540.46. And our last bid is from Essential Specialties Incorporated. Total of all bid items, $6,145,198.38. $6,145,198.38.
I'd like to thank all the bidders for submitting bids on this 10th Street Northwest project. Riley and Jeremy will tabulate the bids and report back. Thank you. Thank you. All right, moving along. Bessie, are you ready to present your budgets?
Good morning.
Good morning.
See, I will just start with the budget. The only adjustments made to this budget are with salaries, considering COLA and merit. The line item 6340, travel and training, increased slightly to account for the increase in costs for travel and the training. Let's see, line item 6370, dues and memberships and subscriptions increased because I have several subscriptions through my department, like for Zoom, for cloud badging and that kind of subscription. That comes out of my budget. So didn't previously have those now, so increase that line item to cover. Recruitment, I'm asking to increase it so that I have the funds to post our jobs on outlets like KX Jobs and those kind of platforms that do cost money. Currently, I use everything that is free. And those are the only adjustments made to that budget. Have any questions?
Don't believe so. Okay.
For the risk manager budget, everything remains the same. We do have travel and training under that budget as well. The travel and the training is very minimal for risk management. Most things are handled through CEG. The safety supplies are also on that budget, and I use that line item to purchase things that employees may need for their office space or for their work area, whether it's ice cleats I buy for all employees, road, sheriff, and courthouse employees, things like that that they might need. Drug screens did go up in 2025. At this point, I have not gotten any notification that that will be raising, so I left that line item as is. Okay. On to health officer budget, also that there are no changes to that budget. The employee training material and events line item is what I use to do our health and wellness fair that we have every year. We partner with CEG and our benefit providers for that. Do you have any questions on those?
Any questions? No?
Okay, if I might, I have a couple of other budgetary items that I wanted to bring to your attention. The current inflation rate for June came out yesterday, so I wanted to update you. That's at 3%. And our medical insurance premiums will be going up 7.26% for 2026.
Okay. Do you know, Desi, if the medical increases are part of that inflation rate, or is that a separate?
It is partly, but also it's prescription drugs. They are still working out the GLP-1s and the cost of those they impact. Another impact that we have found with the trust is that we have, I don't want to say a number because I'm going to get it wrong, but we have quite a number of different plan designs throughout the member groups. So it makes it a little more difficult to go out to bid. So that is something that the IndyFit board is working to rectify so we can go out to bid and possibly get cheaper premiums.
So the 7.2%, is it 26%?
Yes, ma'am.
Is that final, or there's still
That is final unless we wanted to make changes to our plan design by increasing deductibles or out-of-pocket maximums, which we just did 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And even those, we were in the almost the best tier for loss ratio. We were like this close. So we're going to get there. But even those with the best loss ratios still have increases because things go up.
I know Southwest Multi-Correction Center, their rate was going up like 10.2% or something. But they're looking at maybe, or the board is looking at maybe a change in plan.
And if that's something that the board would like for me to look into, I can certainly do that.
Okay. And the calendar for 26.
I apologize, I totally spaced on the calendar. Sorry. So the holidays are on the calendar as laid out by Century Code. And I did work with the auditor's office for payroll dates. I don't know that there's anything seriously to change with the calendar. I would just like to bring up that, or to remind you that this year the board decided to, or approved us being off Christmas Eve and Christmas Day for the full day rather than a half day on Christmas Eve. At this point, I move forward with this calendar as Christmas Eve being a half day, unless the board chooses to change that.
I've got one question back up onto your budget there with your salary increase. What's it based on, like the cost of living, and then another based on, how is that based on?
So, well, that's something that I do every year at the beginning. We just do what we think the COLA will be, and we do the kind of like the middle of the road or average merit increase. And that's what we base everything on, everybody's salaries. So you can always go down after the 10th, but you can't go up, so it's better just to kind of go at your middle of the road.
I'm just curious what it's based on. Is it based on a percentage?
Yep,
of it?
3% for COLA and 3% for a merit.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
So the full day on Christmas Eve, that's already been,
It's my understanding from the auditor that it was approved several meetings back for this coming Christmas Eve to be a whole day.
any other questions for Desi? Thank you.
If I could give one shameless plug, there's a little tabletop tent somewhere near your chair. We are hosting a health screening next week on Thursday, I want to say, the 24th, at the road department from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. So every person, every employee covered under our medical and their spouses, if they are covered under their medical, can attend this event for free.
Well,
Thank
thank you. Yep, thanks. Okay, Sandy.
Good morning.
Morning.
So I guess, should I start right at the top with the budgets and then I'll go down? I have quite a few to present today. We'll start with the P&Z. There was a decrease in the governing board because there was a change with my commissioners that are on my board. We no longer pay, so that there was a decrease in that. That's why that was, and in the travel. So other than that, everything pretty much stayed the same as far as expenses, except for travel and training went down a little bit. Okay.
Any questions?
Coordinator, there we pretty much stayed the same. It's a pretty easy budget. We did go down in our CAD equipment because the CAD equipment for the new commissioners, we bought computers for all the ambulance fire districts to have in their vehicles so that when they go to an emergency, they can just get pinpointed right to where they can go up. With the e-dispatch, sometimes it takes them not in the right spots. We did buy some equipment for that and we set that up. We are paying for the fees for that, but the equipment, we went down because we've got all that taken care of now. And then our E911 budget, that is a budget that is pretty stable. That is paying for the siren, all of our E911 lines. I did visit with Sally. They are making some changes down at State Radio, so this may change. It may actually show less of the income and less of a expenses. They're doing some changes where the payments will come right to State Radio instead of through the counties. Okay.
What was that?
Any questions on that?
Why, in 24, it was 45,000. And 25 budget, 7,000.
Because that's the change in where it used to come to the county and go back. We'd pay State Radio. Now the payments just go right to State Radio, but they're still in that turnover process. So we've had some, they've paid us and then we've had to reimburse them. So there's been, we're getting it all straightened out. So that should be good this year. It's been a little confusing. Okay, at this time, if it's okay, I'd like to present the Water Resource Department budget. Pretty much everything has stayed the same. We are asking again from the county for our programs, which have been very successful. Commissioner Olson, I think, would be able to agree with that. $750,000 to continue. They are going to add, was it tree planting, Dave? Commissioner Olson, I think. Yeah, so that will be added to their program. It wasn't before, but now we believe that they are going to add the tree tree planting program to include in helping in using this 750,000.
Any questions?
The only change that I had from last year, the attorney retention, since we will be using our state's attorney, that amount went down from last year. We didn't have it on here, but that amount went down quite a bit from last year. Okay. Let's see. Conditional use permits, we had a hearing last Tuesday night, July 8th. I have 3 permits that need approving. We have 2 gravel pits and then a water depot. And they did submit the weed
Reclamation plan too? Good.
Yes, it's all complete.
Okay. Madam Chair, I make a motion to approve the 3 planning and zoning items as presented.
For a second?
I'll second.
A motion by Commissioner Heiser, seconded by Commissioner Olson to approve the 3 public hearing CUPs as presented.
These were all approved by the planning and zoning
Yes.
board. They were all in favor.
Yep.
Unanimous.
Sandy, real quick,
Sure.
did Dorothy Schmidt request a dust control?
She stopped in and asked that during, when they're hauling, that they would do dust control. And I believe Commissioner Heiser talked to her too, is that correct? Or you said that they talked to the road department about?
Yep.
And they agreed that they would make sure that there was road.
Is that in here? I never got a chance to read it.
I think they're pretty good about when they
Yeah.
haul in front of people's houses. They're
Yeah.
pretty active. The Waters Road. Wet down.
I had talked to Dorothy Schmidt as well, and, I wonder, with our policy, that road is awfully busy just with oil traffic too now, and if that should be road stabilization.
We could put Meg on it,
Yeah, Meg.
get it
yeah.
identified and let Mike and Terry know we could get it taken care of.
Okay,
And I did,
Yeah.
yeah.
Commissioner Kleeman, I did visit with Dorothy too and said if she had any issues, please to call me and I would follow up with it too to make sure that it was getting done.
Just as long as it's in here.
Yep.
Okay, so there's a motion on the table. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
And my last item,
Sandy, quick, I
Oh,
just
sure.
noticed in the minutes, way down at the bottom, I think it was just a matter of cutting out the date. It said
Oh.
scheduled meeting,
August.
June 10th.
Okay, I will take that out, yes,
I
I see
just
that.
happened to notice that.
Yep, I will fix that, thank you.
Go ahead.
The last is the easement from the cell tower over at the public safety property. State's attorney, Christina, did review it and said that everything looked good. I sent out an email. I believe you got that saying it looks good. So she figures we can move forward. I don't quite know who fills this out, fills in all the blanks. Does our attorney or do you know how that's done, Tracy? Or should I contact the company and see what they want to do?
I think Christina could take care of it.
Okay. And I will let them know that it was if we have a motion to approve it, and we'll move forward with that and get the signature after everything's filled out.
It's a lease agreement, right? Is that what it's called?
Yes.
Okay. I'll move to approve the lease agreement with Allo Towers.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Olson, seconded by Commissioner Heiser to approve the lease agreement with Alloy Towers. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Andy? Yeah, come on up, Holly. We'll get you going here.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'll just start at the top of my budget there. You'll notice that there is a salary increase that is due to Last year I had part-time person, this year I have a full-time person. So that was that increase there. Professional fees actually went down a little bit last year because we did include the full amount for Sidwell in my GIS budget last year. So this year, and you'll see on the top of the professional fees that it was $79,245 for 2025. This year, it's actually going to be $51,699. I did talk with Sally, and we determined the specific things on GIS that do belong into my department that I will take that responsibility for. So that's that $7,548 of the Sidwell GIS site for this year. Vanguard did go up just a little bit. That was due to the exempt module that we added this year. And our complex industrial assessing has stayed the same for the last few years. So other increase, travel and training, that is due to Nathan needing to get certified in classes and travel. So we do have a bit of an increase there. The next increase, and this is a big one, is the postage. As you are all aware, there was quite a few legislative changes this last year. My department is going to be responsible for sending out notices for every piece of land and property in Dunn County, including agricultural. So right now we have 10,800 and some parcels. So if you can imagine that that's going to be quite a hefty postage bill, and postage is due to go up again. I did put 8,200. We are working, I talked to my Vanguard rep because I have to do it out of my Vanguard system where I have the assessments at. And they have put together a committee to try to find a way to group these things. As we can do in our tax system, it's a little bit easier because we have tax IDs that we can print by. In Vanguard, I can't put those tax IDs in that system. They just go by parcel name and address. So there's going to be a committee trying to work so we can consolidate some of that postage down. I can't say that it's going to go through, but other than sorting and choosing when we print these things out, that might be the only way that I can get that postage amount down. So that's due to that increase. And our office, as of next year, is also responsible for sending out the approval or denial of the primary resident credit. That was noted by the state and legislative this year too. So next year we will have to send out those notices either via postcard, mail, or if people want to provide me an email address, but it has to be noted. So the other increase, we did add a new vehicle and maintenance line. We did get a specific vehicle for planning and zoning and the tax department here. So I just put 1,500 for gas, oil changes, whatever maintenance that might come up. And everything else looks to be the same. So are there any questions for me?
Yeah.
I have good explanations.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Holly.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Carolyn, as long as you're here, we'll hear your budget.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Okay, so Sally explained like the salary increases just based on a percentage. There's nothing different in there. The budget that I'm requesting is essentially the same as the budget that I requested for this year. No increases. I guess probably the biggest item that seems high compared to what I actually spent is training and travel. And I leave a little bit extra in there. 2,000 give or take covers my 2 VSO conferences. But if there's an extra like in-state conference for behavioral health or something, I like the flexibility to be able to go to that if there's something really good that pertains that comes available. So that's why I request a little more in that item than sometimes I actually use. Other than that, there's no really big changes. Do you have any questions for me? Okay, all right. I'm gonna put in a little plug for Loanne, and show you the posters that she made for me. Anyway, these posters are hanging up all over the county. I've also had an email list of potential people that might be veterans that I've actually mailed them out to. So, you know, hopefully we'll be getting calls. My veteran numbers have stayed essentially stable. The ones that come to my office for like the last 3 years. Like I'll lose some, I'll gain some, but you know, the population is pretty stable. You know, we'll catch some new ones, but so any other questions for me? It's good. Okay, all right,
Thank you. Okay, Jeremy, so you're back with bid tabulation?
Yes, so we tabulated the bids and verified that the as-read bid, $5,109,655.99, was the mathematically low bid. So we would recommend awarding to Bronco Brothers Construction. It was quite a bit under our estimate. We're still trying to track that down. It's good news. I'm glad I'm explaining that we're the high bid for the day, but it could be a symptom of there's less DOT projects, which is good for you guys. The oil field might be a little bit slower. We expected a little higher prices based on the fact that it's an aggressive schedule for the fall, but so we don't really know where the numbers, how it came out, but it's good news. So long story short, I would recommend awarding to Bronco Brothers Construction.
Madam Chair, get my numbers right here. Award to Bronco Brothers, $5,109,655.99.
Okay, motion by Commissioner Heiser, seconded by Commissioner Kleeman to award the bid on the 10th Street Northwest project to Bronco Brothers. Any further discussion?
It's good when Jeremy's a high bid.
Commissioner Heiser?
Yes.
Commissioner Olson?
Yes.
Commissioner Kleeman?
Yes.
Commissioner Dolzall?
Yes, motion carries.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thank you. Things on our agenda. Gotta find my agenda. Okay, the archery, well, that's with the city of Kildare. We'll hold it.
You can probably take that.
Okay. And the other thing, the Historical Society had contacted Sally, and they would like us to hold off till September 3rd, when they have some information ready for us. That won't be on today either. Okay, Brevera Positive Pay, Sally?
Okay, so we have a program called Positive Pay that's already on our First International accounts. And basically what this does is it's fraud prevention for our accounts because we hold high values in all of them. So what it does is when we write checks to people, say like after the meeting today, we will do a check run. We will upload that to Brevera Bank. And if any of the checks come back with a different amount or a different name or anything like that, they will catch it and call us before they pay the money out. They do this with ACHs. They do this with regular checks. We found out at our auditor treasurer conference that there is check washing that goes on, and people will actually wash the check and the ink comes off, and then they can rewrite things on it and keep the signatures. It's really crazy. So the cost for this is $10 a month, and I would just like approval to move forward with it. I think $10 a month is pretty good peace of mind for what we have in the bank at this point. So if we could just get approval to move forward with that, that'd be great.
Yeah, I'll move to approve the Rivera positive pay.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Olson, seconded by Commissioner Kleeman to approve the Rivera Bank positive pay as presented. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. How about the special event permits?
All right, so we have two special events permits for the Pipe Bar and Grill. The first one is for a wedding on August 23rd at the rodeo grounds. And the second is for a rodeo, August 28th, 29th, and 30th at the rodeo grounds. So if I could just get approval for those.
Are those both the same, 2 7/8?
Yep.
Okay, motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Kleeman, seconded by Commissioner Olson to approve the two special events permits for the Pipe Bar and Grill at the rodeo grounds. Any more discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Okay. L, Highlands Engineering,
You took care of that.
okay.
I just wanted them on the engineer's report, so.
Why don't we go ahead and look at the vouchers? So done that right away. Sarah can get working on them. So there were no additions?
Maybe I thought.
Doesn't look like.
Nothing yellow on there.
I have to say that the Commissioner dinner was a raging success. I guess we served about 600 people. And to commend Eric, Beeks Barbecue, and Ann for providing the meal. It was very good.
It was.
I'll move to approve the vouchers as presented.
Second.
Okay. There's a motion by Commissioner Olson, seconded by Commissioner Heiser to approve the vouchers as presented. Any discussion? Any discussion?
What's that, T-Rex car wash is $4.89
Those are for the sheriff vehicles,
for the what?
for the sheriff vehicles.
Okay.
Any other questions? If not, roll call vote.
Commissioner Heiser?
Yes.
Commissioner Olson?
Yes.
Commissioner Kleeman? Commissioner Dolzall?
Yes, the motion carries. Next item here.
Sarah says she's on.
We want to jump ahead. Harry is up, fine with holding. Okay. Right, Sarah, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Okay, why don't you go ahead?
Sally, do you have my budget pinned up?
Mike, can you put Sarah's, the emergency manager's budget on the screen?
Thanks, Mike. Really, the only things I thought that I needed to explain were expenses. Item 6310, the professional fees. This year we had budgeted for $7,000. That would be the portion of our multi-hazard mitigation plan that Dunn County would have to provide. So I reduced that for the following year to $2,000, which was closer to what we actually spent in 2024. And then the only other significant change, I believe, would be the line item 6648 for the road radio. In several of our smaller exercises and discussions, communications has come up. And one thing that several responding services have done have gotten a couple of extra handheld radios. So I'd like to add that into my budget to be able to purchase a couple of radios. So if there is a larger incident, we have additional ability to communicate.
Okay. Are there any questions for Sarah on the emergency management budget?
You know, I've always had one question, is emergency manager and the 911 coordinator, why are they separated? A lot of counties, there is one in here. Danny's got some duties and she, you know, sometimes they're, I'm just curious why that's ever been split up or.
I think you'll find if you look across all the counties, there are, every county kind of does it a different way, and it's just the way it was set up here. Back when Denise Brew was emergency manager, I think she initially started with 911, but it was separated out for a while. 911 was with the sheriff's office.
Okay.
And at the time, but yeah, you find that counties do whatever seems to work best for them. So I think it's working pretty well right now. Any other questions for Sarah? Thank you, Sarah.
I want to say thank you for letting me do this remotely. I am at a conference right now for communications for government communicators. Loanne and I are here for it. So thanks for letting me do that.
Sounds good. Thanks for your time.
She gonna present?
Are Blair and Tim there?
Yep. Yeah, you've got the holiday. Yep, Blair. Here.
I'll just stay on mute while Blair and Tim talk.
Okay.
And I'll be
Sounds
their
good.
support.
Sounds good. Thanks.
Morning, Commissioners.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning.
Hello, Blair.
We're here because we've got some help with funding for replacing our ambulance. I know we've had some trouble with it. And it's 20 years old now, you know, and want to replace it with a new ambulance, which we have ordered already. And with the loss of the funding, you know, from the mills when they dropped down, you know, struggling, you know, keeping our bills paid and stuff, you know, so I guess the radio purchase that we had to do, that was $130,000, you know. Ambulance is $240,000. Had some repair bills on, everything has went up, you know, as you realize too, you deal with that, so. We've had to add some, like for staffing, when we don't have our personnel for the cover 24 hours, you know, sometimes we have to get people from other places out, which we have to pay too, so. We're paying out more than normally you would.
Looks like you can get this ambulance pretty quick. We must have one already coming down the line or what? Or just one built and sitting somewhere?
It's, yep, I'm still on. It is almost ready for delivery. They got our graphics approval last week. Typically, we had multiple quotes and they were coming in at a minimum of 36 months out. And we did get this option that was at 90 days. So that's why we jumped at it as an ambulance service. So, and I'd like to also add that I did not add into the form, the grant form that I filled out for the commission, that I had forgotten to add the expense of our radios in there. Blair and I talked about that this morning, so I apologize for missing that on the narrative.
And what's that expense, Sarah?
Blair, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that was about $125,000.
Yeah, it was right in that area. 530.
And that's figured into the 227 price then? That includes the radios or doesn't include the radios?
No.
That does not include the radios.
The ambulance we ordered is, it'll have a brand new chassis under it, but it's a refurbished module. They take that and they tear it apart, go through everything. They add all the, for your stuff, and everything that would normally come in a ambulance. It's like a new ambulance when it's delivered. So it's a module on a new chassis is what it is. Price versus the 240, which we have to pay for this. The new one was 300,000.
Yeah.
30,
Crazy.
something like that.
So you're requesting this 227 plus the 125? The radios are,
Possible, and
What was the total price of the radios again?
you have.
The radios, was it 127? Or 125,000?
Yeah, it was either 125 or 130,000. Total up to be by the time.
I can look quick on my emails to see. I've got it in my emails from Dennis.
yeah.
And if we could, get that or anything else that we can help with the operations, because of the loss of tax dollars that we got.
Yeah, they had a mill levy of 10 mills, but that expired after 10 years according to century codes.
We had 13.
I mean, 13 mills, and it had to go
13
down to
mills.
5.
Right now, we're on 5.
Yeah.
About 2/3 of our.
And they only let us jump at 3% a year. So.
And that's for both fire and ambulance, right?
Okay.
Okay,
This is-
not just separate, it's for both.
That ambulance is actually contracted with the fire district. Fire department. Under one roof.
How has it, so now you have to have a separate ambulance district, correct? Is
Right.
that- Yeah.
And that we did. It helped us with that. We have a ambulance board within fire district board. To function that way, and that's why the ambulance is now contracted with fire district.
And also under new legislation, the ambulance can't do an election for mills until the primary election in '26. So until then, the ambulance and fire are sharing 5 mills, where the others are 5 apiece, so.
Yeah, so we have both the expenses from both of them all coming out of one.
I found the quote from Dennis for the radios for Halliday. It's $106,043.06.
106 something.
106 what?
106,043 and 6 cents.
Madam Chair, I make a motion to pick up the ambulance at 227,350 and the radios at the 106,043.06.
There's a motion, is there a second?
I'll second.
Motion by Commissioner Heiser, seconded by Commissioner Olson to approve the application for radios for Holiday Ambulance and their new ambulance in the amount of $333. What was that? Vance?
Yeah.
Okay,
How much was it? The total?
333, 393 and 6 cents. Does that sound right? Okay. Any further discussion?
Is that gonna keep you guys above water?
It will for a while, yeah. We approached City of Dodge, City of Holiday too, for funding, gaming, two gaming places, you know.
Mhm.
Haven't responded back to us yet. Help us, you know. This will help us. How long, who knows, you know, what happened, but
Does the, up at Twin Buttes, the tribal government, do they support you guys at all?
no.
They haven't been.
You have a lot of calls up there too.
We do, I have I sent a contract in, we have one contract with the fire, affiliated drives fire, set then contract in January. I've called twice now.
Mhm.
It's pending, they're not
Yeah.
working on it.
Yeah.
They're not, and it's not that large amount. It's hard to, ambulance, no, we don't, have any contract with them because most of them are covered under.
Mhm.
Most of your funds will go to the insurance of some type, you know, your
Mhm.
Medicare, anybody that's had anything to do with that, you know what kind of write-off there is. that
Mhm. Yeah,
You have to give on Medicare. Makes it hard, you know, but.
Yeah.
To the world, I guess.
I know Medicare and Medicaid runs, services lose money.
Yeah.
That's just the way it is right now. And it's not that you're trying to make money, but your expenses are there, so. Okay, so
Probably one of the most important services, ambulance, you know, to anybody that's waited for one knows how important they are.
Okay. Have a roll call vote on the motion?
Commissioner Heiser?
Yes.
Commissioner Olson?
Yes.
Commissioner Kleeman?
Yes.
Commissioner Dolzall?
Yes, the motion carries.
On behalf
Thank
of
you.
the Fire Department ambulance, thank you very much.
You guys get back in trouble or come back.
Appreciate that.
Yep, thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you much.
Thank you. Okay, Gary, you ready to? Hear the sheriff budget now?
Yes. Morning, everyone.
Morning.
Morning.
So, we didn't make a whole lot of changes to the budget. It's about a $10,000 increase from last year. We added to a few of the position, or a few of the line items just to make up for the increase in costs. So the professional fees went up, and slowly trying to add some of our required programs that we have, like our report writing programs and things like that into that area. Take them out of the equipment because they're actually a continual fee that we've been covering out of equipment for the past several years, but as they continually go up and we have to accommodate those because they're required, starting to add a little to that. So the travel, which is related to our training, that went up a little bit, added some to that. We wanted to increase some of our training over the next couple of years, so we had a $4,000 increase on that. And dues and memberships, some of the range fees and other things went up, so increased that a little bit. Office supplies went up a little bit, just based off of cost for everything. And vehicle gas and oil was at a small increase of 5,000. I think we'll be okay on that. The radios, we took care of them already. They were purchased out of last year's budget, so we reduced that down to 2,500 just for replacement parts and pieces as they, break down on us. So we have a little bit there to cover that. And then the sheriff's equipment, the small increase. So if you look at last year's budget compared to this one, it's 10,000 difference. And then the salary adjustment was done by Sally, so that's taken care of. We're asking for 5 vehicles this year. Next year, I guess, 2 Chevy Tahoes. They came in at $234,444.59. It's the vehicle and the upfitting with all electronics, lights, sirens, etc. And then 3 Interceptors at $328,071.93. That number could adjust a little bit. They were estimating fleet bid for next year. That wasn't up yet, but it should be very close. I think compensated a little bit for that. So I don't expect that to be a $2,000 difference. That should be a pretty accurate number.
Timeline for getting vehicles and better? If they start to show up on time, or are they still way late?
It's getting a little better, but it's still difficult to get anything. And it's kind of a catch up for us because we run our vehicles so long. Once you get something with 80,000 on it, running at 120 or 30 emergency calls, and take a $20,000 car and take a $12,000 or $15,000 transmission out on, you basically have a worthless car. So we're hoping to get caught up eventually, trade them or get rid of them. And they'll normal drive way past that 80,000, but as things wear out that hard. It's getting a little better.
At this price, Gary, what's in it outfitted for 115,000 a piece? I mean, the vehicle's probably 60.
Yeah.
So what's the rest of it? I mean, like equipment, do you not reuse any of the equipment of the old ones, or is it all new equipment? And I mean, just
it depends. A lot of the equipment can be changed out, but a lot of it, as the models change, things don't fit anymore. So one Tahoe, a 2024 Tahoe, might not be the same design as a 2025 Tahoe, so the cages might not fit in there. A lot of the other equipment might not fit in there. So yeah, it's itemized. Got everything you want to look.
no, it just seemed,
A couple of these, but yeah, what they can reuse, like the radios,
Sure.
The repeaters, a lot of that expensive stuff, that does get recycled, but it's like anything, it's, you build a barn, it's 10,000 and the electrician charges you 20. I mean, it's just, the way things have become in this world, so. But yeah, there is an itemized,
I have no question. I'm just curious what you reuse or what's reusable on them.
yeah. But yeah, they do recycle whatever they can. Bumpers, cages, whatever they can back into
And then the old one goes to public auctions, or what happens to the old one?
So typically, we either do one of three things with them. We recycle them back into the county, some of the pickups and the cars, do other departments like the road department and, the office people here.
Sure.
Just drive around. Some of them are just traded to our upfitter.
Guardian?
And what's
The
that?
Guardian?
Yeah, to Guardian, and then they take that off this bill.
Okay.
So, kind of, it's easier to trade them or give them back to the county than it is to hold a public auction all the time. And we have traded some for training, other options too in the past, but.
Usually that will come before the board and we would
Yeah.
disposing of that vehicle one way or the other. So, question on the SRO. Officer Avalos is now in the city of Killdeer, so I was just wondering where that's at with the.
So we held, we opened that position up and it was given to one of our deputies. Jesse Hellinger accepted the position with Chief Avalos and the administrator, Jeff Simmons from the school. Everybody agreed that he was fit for that position, so he'll be starting that. I think he gets back from training on the 3rd. And we are working with the city. The city just lost their SRO, administrator, jail possibly.
Yeah.
Hearing right,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, he did accept the position. It's
And
Officer Mosley.
Yep, so we have been holding that second SRO spot. City decided to put one in, we didn't fill that, so I don't think Chief Avalos, it depends on what the city does. I think that position is gonna go back to the county to retain that or hire somebody for. It's still in our budget, and then the school pays for one position and then the second. Hopefully we'll get both of those filled before it starts, but it depends on what the city wants. If they choose to fill it again. We get along fine, so I think it would work better with a county employee just because kids that attend the school, but if the city wants to keep it, we're fine with that as well, so. But the main thing is to get a second position into the grade school because it's important to both Chief Avalos and myself that we get that person in there, those little kids, so.
Thank you.
Are you gonna get another E9?
Depending on who accepts the position, if we have one of them that would be willing to do another support. Definitely. Before you know your support. Based off of what we paid for the last one, I think we can just cover it out of our budget, but I think he was a great, very well. If possible, I would definitely like.
Any more questions for? Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks a lot. We'll do communications when Sally presents her budget. And buildings and grounds, and I see Will is here.
Hello.
Will,
Okay. Looks like we'll start in the building and grounds budget. I've got kind of three separate budget areas. Couple changes, I think, looking at totals, I believe we increased the building and grounds budget by about, well, less than $4,000 from last year. Basically, everything seems to be, from looking at it, bumped up things here and there, borrowed some from the old county building that, you know, we don't need to put much into that. So we kind of adjusted some of those things, but your total expenses, so courthouse is, you know, requesting $83,000 for maintenance this year. County building, $1,500.
What do you call the county building?
The old social service building in Killdeer.
We gave that.
Yeah, I realize, but you know, I think are we still paying utilities and things? Are we?
We shouldn't be.
We shouldn't be. Didn't we give it to the city?
Mm-hmm. We did.
Why would we be paying utilities if we gave it to the city? No, we gave it to the city.
So I think we can.
We can probably obviously take off
Yeah.
the electric gas and all that.
They can
You know,
transfer that. I mean, they can take that over
Yeah.
until they tear it down.
yeah. I mean, we had the water and everything shut off, so you know, the only thing I was trying to do is make sure that there was budget to cover that
Sure.
until that
Yeah.
took place. You know, if it's official, then yeah, we'll get that taken care of. So yeah, you've got totals there of each building. We've worked really hard to build a budget for each building in particular, specific, so you can kind of see where we spend money and where the maintenance for each is. But totals, weed board, emergency manager building, 17,000. The sheriff building, the shop building, you're looking at about 27,000. Highway buildings, you know, various numbers, but I won't go through each and every one of them, but you can kind of see size of the building obviously matters based on how much we spend in utilities, but we try and cover all those things. So if you have questions, I'm available to answer.
Kind of, it looks like you've kind of nailed down what the expenses amount to on the new buildings. I know it takes a bit to
Yeah, it does.
zero
It
in
does.
on what those costs are.
It's been a process over the last couple of years to really try and figure out what are we going to spend in utilities, you know, it's a guessing game that first couple of years, but I think we're really in a good place right now as far as understanding exactly what we're going to have to do as far as maintenance and upkeep of the buildings that we currently have. Any questions on those?
Any questions?
Okay.
Thanks, Will.
Moving on to I've got a custodian budget, and just for those that don't understand, that's where we house all our salaries for the positions on building and grounds, also our expenses. So, you know, the building and grounds budget that we just got done looking at is building specific. Those are not in, you know, personnel or any of the outside things that, you know, like fuel and maintenance and phone reimbursement, those kind of things are under our custodian budget. And that's pretty cut and dry as far as what I'm requesting this year. So any questions on those?
How many, it was $2,500 of phones and it's what, 50 a month? So that's, how many phones are we reimbursing?
Yeah, we've got 5 people, so that because we're reimbursing more and more people signed up for the reimbursement program, and I increased that budget to just try and cover all.
I see a jump, that's why I asked.
Yeah.
So.
Yep, that's just to cover the difference in people taking advantage of that offering. So, any other questions?
I believe so.
Okay. And then moving on to Park Board. So this, the Park Board budget is a considerable jump this year. It was presented to the Park Board at the last Park Board meeting. They recommended that we move forward with this budget. I'd like to preface by saying that in the past, we've tried to maintain a kind of a conservative budget on things that we want to accomplish yearly and the maintenance that we have for the two properties, the Little Mo and Lake Ilo. This year, we kind of are taking a little bit different approach. Hopefully it makes sense, but we itemize things a little bit more clearly. So there's codes on exactly where we're using some of these funds. But basically, we increase the budget to cover project costs. In the past, we've come to this commission and asked for certain things, and we would like to have the ability to have some of these new projects and not have to come to you guys every time we want to add a facility or a amenity in these areas. So this was the recommendation of the Park Board, and I'm presenting it to you as is.
Also, just a note on that, our state aid for the year increased. So I was going to transfer some of the state aid money to the Park Board. So it kind of covers the difference in their budget, the increase in our state aid.
There's no mills levied for park or none of that? Okay.
So under projects, under Little Mo, what would that consist of, or what's sort of being considered?
Yeah, you know, so like this year, I came to this board to ask for a picnic structure, and, you know, that was approved, but we're also at the beck and call of the Corps of Engineers approving those things, and those things don't happen very quickly, you know, so I don't know if that'll even be a this year project, and we're still waiting word. So things like that. You know, we have like a 5-year plan of what we'd like to see that we add or improve on at these areas. You know, so like this year we spent roughly about $20-some thousand in concrete, one for an ADA ramp at the vault toilet, the Little Mo, and one to replace one of the concrete pads under the structures at Lake Ilo. So there's money there that, you know, requires upkeep, but then we also want to add new improved things. And so rather than come back and ask this board every time we want to do that, we figure we'll build it into our budget so that we can have those available and not have to wait for word on whether we can or not. And we feel like it's a better way to go about it.
$1,000 set aside for trees. You see a lot of trees and shrubs, don't it?
Well, it's not just new. We have a lot of trees and shrubs to maintain, and we get a lot of dead trees. And some of these trees they're bigger trees that my department can't safely handle. So we end up spending a lot of money on tree service stuff, taking trees out, trimming trees, stump removal, all in the hopes to continually make those areas a nice place for the public. So, yeah, I believe we spent close to, well, we're about $12,000 to $13,000 this year at tree service, which was removal around, you know, safety issues with dead trees at the campground, things like that. So, any other questions?
So,
Okay,
thanks, Will.
thank you very much.
Oh, he is. Oh, Kane, yeah. I'm sorry. I can't see that far.
See how he does the first time.
I didn't
Yeah,
recognize this.
take it easy.
We're taking notes. Keeping score.
Hey, okay, so I believe we'll start up right up at the salaries. So budgeted down a little bit from the year before, because Diane retired, and then my pay and Jamie's pay went up a little bit. So Sally helped us with that, figure that out. And then the next largest thing is basically chemicals. Last year, the commission, the weed board wanted to do grasshopper control, cost share that. The commission approved it, and so we budgeted higher again because we want to, the board wants to keep that going, keep the grasshopper control going. And that was the biggest change. I think we went down on some gas and oil, and then motor vehicle parts we upped a little bit. There hasn't been much other change other than that.
How is the new pickup working?
Good. Yeah.
Have you sprayed for hoppers yet?
No.
No. Different fields where I've been cutting hay, they're alive and well in different areas. Some places are really concentrated heavy.
Yeah, so the wish of the board was to keep that going, and
That's why that was the reason that we kept it on.
Yeah.
It wasn't grasshoppers, but we said if they do come, we want to be ready for it, so.
They're here.
Yeah.
They're out of my place.
Little buggers,
Yep.
that's what
Yeah.
I've seen.
Mhm.
And the vehicle purchases, that line item is for like side by side or?
Yeah, 2 4-wheelers for this year.
Okay.
Or, yeah, if we need a equipment vehicle purchase like that, side by side or 4-wheeler.
So uniforms, was that under supplies before? Okay. Any questions for Kane?
Where's your sidekick?
She is covering Halliday ambulance right now, so she can come in.
Okay.
Yeah. Just lone wolf today.
Yeah. Great. There's no questions. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kane. Do you have anything else on the agenda that we haven't?
Lisa.
We took care of, yeah, we took care of everything. And, yeah. Care of Lisa's budget.
Beat you up now.
Is it your birthday?
Yes.
Happy birthday, Commissioner Heiser.
Happy birthday.
Ice cream after lunch.
Nice, nice, nice. Good morning, Chairman Dalzell, Commissioners.
Hi.
I'm going to start with the recorder's budget. And just so that you know, in the Commissioner shared folder, I did put the recorder's year-to-date receipts that I've collected. And I'm about halfway through what I anticipated for my budget last year. So I'm hopeful that my budget will be covered again this year. So as far as the recorder's budget, not much has changed. My overall budget is lower than last year. The big difference is going to be I had a senior member of the recorder's office retire, so wages are down. That's the largest portion of that. If you go down the list, the first change is going to be postage at the recommendation of the auditor. I bumped that up a couple $100 because rates are going up. Dues and memberships, my recorder dues went up, so I added another $100 to that line. Contracts and office supplies, I just reduced one and then increased another one, so that's kind of a wash there. The biggest line item I have is for microfilming and bookbinding, which is really preservation in my office. And I just had Rick, I haven't spent anything so far this year, but what happens is my guy from US Records comes out twice a year. He was just here this morning. We assess the books, he'll give me a quote, and the work is done in the fall. So I do end up using quite a bit of that money for preservation of my books in the vault. And I did add just a little bit to uniforms.
Any questions on the recorder budget? Like Lisa pointed out, the fees that she collects pretty much covers her recorder budget.
Yeah.
Fees for copies.
The largest portion that gets is copy fees. If you look at that, and I think I've pointed that out before, if you look in your folders, it'll say document, non-document. Document is the documents I actually record and index against the land records. The non-documents are copy fees, corner record fees, marriage license fees, any filing fees, and that is what usually covers our budget. And I'm expecting a check for my Endron copy fees here probably after the July meeting, so they have their fiscal meeting in July. Then I'll know what those will be. So on the clerk of court side, I also put in your folders case statistics for the Southwest Judicial District, and I highlighted Dunn's, and you can see from 25, 24, 23, 22, statistically if they're up, down, and whatnot. We seem to be holding fast in caseload from year to year here. And I also want to point out that the 25 to 2027 biennium begins August 1st. And because we enter into a funding agreement with the state of North Dakota for district court services, our service fee will be $247,800 a year getting reimbursed for district court services from the Supreme Court. So that more than covers the clerk's budget. So for the clerk's budget, the only thing that went up would be, again, postage. Dues and memberships, those went up slightly. And uniforms, I bumped them up slightly. So we're a little up from last year, but not by much. And the biggest increase again would be wages, not expenses, routine expenses.
Are there questions on the clerk's budget? Good. Thank you, Lisa.
Yes, thank you.
All right, Carrie. You did a switcheroo.
Make a schedule switch with the state's attorney.
Yep.
So this budget looks a little bit different than what you've been looking at all morning. So for our new commissioners, just to outline how the process works. The budget you have in front of you was approved and reviewed by the JDA board at their May meeting. Overall, it's important to understand that legislatively, the JDA can levy up to 4 mills. In this particular case, we're proposing a levy of $105,898, which Sally, is that approximately 1.2-ish? And the remainder of the requested budget will be from our gross production tax. As you look at this, it's actually $5,000 less than that last year. The biggest increase, and these are primarily just placeholders, is under salaries and benefits. Statutorily, the funds that are collected and provided for the Job Development Authority go into a Job Development Authority account. Once they are paid on behalf of the JDA by the county, we reimburse those funds. So you will also see, and Sally will show you on her side of the budget, where those funds come back into the county general fund. It just is a way of them providing a service that we don't have the capacity to serve or to provide. The numbers that you see here are primarily placeholders because we don't know where the COLAs and those kind of things will happen. Office expenses, board expenses, travel, training, all the same as last year. We don't anticipate that those will go up. A lot of our travel doesn't go up and hasn't gone up because we now have the opportunity from time to time to zoom in. Why drive to Fargo when you can zoom in? We have asked for $90,000 under special projects, grants, programs, those being those items that don't fall underneath the development fund. A good example might be for an upcoming proposed planning project that we'll be doing. I will propose to the board that we'll be doing next year. That does not fall underneath the development fund. So this is where that would come from. Similarly, that $25,000, we do provide food through our licensed. We do provide funding to our local grocery store for our licensed daycare providers within our county to go and shop at our local grocery store, which then helps lower and control their food costs, helps lower and control the cost of childcare, and helps support our local grocery store. This is going into our third year, very successful program. And then, of course, our scholarship of $2,000 for our 2 scholarships, each for $1,000 for young entrepreneurs for our graduating seniors. That hasn't changed either. The math problem that you see on the opposite column shows our current cash balance, our anticipated expenses, and that's a large amount of dollars we expect to be expended between now and the end of the year, primarily because we still have to expend many of those young farmer grants that haven't been applied for or reimbursed, if you will. That gives us an anticipated amount of $88,000, $676,000 as a year end. We see no need to hold any interim funds where we have in the past. This year, we see no need at all. We anticipate ending with an overage of that $88,000 figure. When subtracted from our budgeted expense, obviously you can see the need for $222,898,000. So that is the full funding request for the JDA budget, of which 105 we're proposing would come from millage and tax, if you will. The remaining $117,000 would come from gross production tax return to the county through GPT, obviously, and we'll put those tax dollars that have been returned to us back to work within the community. You'll see also circled there the additional request of 1.5% of the auditor's GPT estimate, which at last conversation, I believe the auditor was somewhere in the neighborhood of 30 million-ish. And that would bring somewhere close to $450,000 to be utilized for the young farmers, young producers agricultural grant, which we discussed at your last meeting. The budget is, as you can see on the bottom, $5,000 less, and you can also see the total amount of the request for the last 4 years.
Did you wash it?
Oh,
They were talking
did I
about-
wash it? You know, I did. I put it in grayscale, but you can see it quite well on the.
There is something there, yeah.
If you look up on the screen, you can see it. Put it in grayscale. I didn't want it to be confusing. Any questions about my budget, the JDA budget request? I do want to point out that we also manage the housing fund, the Dunn County Down Payment Assistance. We are holding a significant amount of dollars in there at this point. Very close to $800,000. By the time the 10 builds that we have on the books already approved, it will be down to approximately $600,000. When we get below 500, we usually come in and request that we have that regenerated. I don't feel at this point in time there's a need to have any additional funds submitted into that particular balance.
Carrie, could you go over on the down payment incentive? So if there's someone that has a current house in Stark County, they want to build in Dunn County, is there, I mean, the requirements, does that house have to be sold before they can, okay?
Yeah.
And
Our goal is that they utilize these funds to build their primary home. We do ask that they sell their home as well. Case in point, I have one that is, one that I just got off the phone with, a young gentleman this morning. He anticipates that he will close on his existing home here in the middle of August, no, middle of July, thank you. August is next month. He plans to close in the middle of July, here any day now, and then he anticipates that towards the end of this month, he will in fact be closing on his new build. So the plan is you have to sell your existing home that you're in and while you're building your other one. We recognize that sometimes you build your house and then have to sell. I have them become very good friends with those individuals who have a house to sell, and I'm on the phone to them quite regularly until it's sold, as can be attested to by several people. We have one that's on the market in Halliday now that they utilize the program to buy rurally, and they have their house now on the market.
yeah, it just seems that where it would come up that you can't leave your house because it's going to take, you know, how long before you get your new one built, you know?
Yeah.
And is that a hindrance?
We do work with people. We ask them to write a statement as to what their plan is, and then, like I said, I'm their best friend until they get it sold.
Kind of wanted to see how that worked. Thank you.
Everybody needs a friend.
To lean on.
Yes, we do. Any other questions?
I believe so. Thank you.
And thank you for getting me in.
Yeah. You bet. Okay. Where are we, Sally? Oh, there she is. Can you? Ready? Okay.
Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning.
All right, so we don't have a lot of changes to ours. I want to just do a little explaining as to how we have it set up. The only changes we've made is in telephone, we took 2 phone lines out so that you'll see that that's gone down. And in postage, we went up 15% for the stamps. Everything else we've kept the same. Our travel budget includes all of our conference costs, our vehicle maintenance, meals, hotels, fuel, anything that kind of. We also do our online conferences. So it's kind of all in the same spot, so that's why that's a bigger number there. There's a big push for attending national conferences, and that includes that. Kristen was going to go last year, and then she ended up having a baby. So, but we're encouraged to have at least one of us attend one yearly, whether it's on the 4-H side or on our egg side or W. The 4-H council line is kind of an in-out line. What we do is we take the month, we turn our monthly bills into Sally's office, and then we invoice 4-H, the 4-H council, with those monthly, and they write a check to pay them off instead of going receipt by receipt, because that's really all Sally would be doing, especially during fair season. So, any questions?
What's, just curious, extension programming, what would
That's our programming. That's where we are holding our classes, going into the schools, having people come in. Like on my side, next year we're going to take the full health curriculum, on the move curriculum into the schools. So we're going to try and hit every grade level. And it's based on my plate. So everything you do, you then do a cooking apparatus with it. So then they make their healthy snack and those kind of things. So that's where that comes out of. When we did the egg planning with Kirsten, those books that you get come out
Mhm.
of that. Before that used to all be a miscellaneous. Last year we moved it into its own so we could track it better.
Any questions?
You lowered your salaries down almost 45,000 there. What was the? where
We
did that
don't
come
do
from?
anything with our salaries, so I'm not sure.
That was due to the stipend when we did it last year. It was just, the numbers were kind of messed up, so we had to redo the stipend numbers. So those are much lower this year than what we anticipated for last year. And then, let's see, we got our admin, we got the 2 stipends. Yep, that would be the difference, is just the stipend. And also, we have a new admin assistant, and Sarah transferred back over, so that lowered that rate too.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Chris.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, go ahead. Communications and marketing.
So this one, you guys are going to notice a little bit of a change. The first change in Luann's communication and marketing is she was approved to hire an admin, so that will increase her salaries. The professional fees we took off because she said she didn't really need any of that. Travel and training stayed the same. The telephone went up due to the new assistant, because that's how they'll communicate when they're out and about. Dues and memberships went down. Postage stayed the same because she doesn't really use that much postage. The biggest change that you will see is in the marketing and publishing. And if you guys remember from the last couple of meetings, that's when we decided that the things that she does, marketing and publishing for other departments, should really go in her budget so that it kind of shows what she's doing. So that went up a little bit, as before she was charging that to other departments. Now it'll be to hers. Office supplies stayed the same. Office equipment went down. Uniforms went up a little bit for her other person, and miscellaneous went down. So the real increase in hers is for her extra person, and then the marketing of the county. And that one too, we're just kind of, because a couple of things have changed in there, next year the marketing and publishing may go down. We're just kind of practicing with that one, and like this year, just to see how that's going to work.
Has that position been filled yet?
They did do interviews, and I believe because Luann is off this week, they're going to try to do it via email, but I'm not sure if where
Okay.
they're at sitting with that.
One you want to cover?
I do want to ask you guys one thing first, or get your consideration on it. So currently, every year when we get merit increases, the elected officials have always got the middle of the road percentage. So usually it's like a 2.5%, when most of the other department heads are getting a 3 or 3.25%. And what this is doing is putting the auditor, the sheriff, the state's attorney, and the recorder, it's slipping them back further in the pay scale as far as equitability goes. So what I would like to propose is instead of just saying, oh, you get a 2.5%, take what all of the other department heads got and give the elected officials that average. So if you take the other 10 department heads and they've got a 3.1 or something, that's what the elected officials get, not just a 2.5. Because by doing that, we're going backwards. Everybody else is moving forwards at a higher rate. And then what happens is we have to come in and ask for a big bump all at once. And this way it just kind of keeps us moving through that pay scale with everyone else.
So how are the department heads based? Is there a review form that gets filled out?
Yep, it's a review form by the portfolio holders. So say you and Tracy are Loanne's portfolio holder, you will do a review for her, and then her merit is based on the review that you do for her.
We do something similar for all the elected ones?
You could. I don't know how that's always been done in the past. Gary, I don't know if you can.
We've never had raises in the past, so it's always been just COLA prior to this merit system. So.
I don't know how we could review an elected official. Is that what you were, yeah.
That's what I'm asking.
We're on an equal playing field. We have no real authority other than their budget. So that's why we've kind of done, I guess it was.
Yeah, and just a 2.5 before, but.
That's the thing, we have the authority with the budget, so we're looking to budget for it, right?
So that is how I did the elected officials' budgets this year as far as salary. I just did a 3%, just like everyone else. The board, I did a 3% COLA and a 3% merit is what I did across the board, just like everybody else. But I just think it makes more sense to do an average. Otherwise, like I said, we just fall behind, and eventually we're going to be below where we probably where we should be on that scale.
Which all positions are we talking? Yours,
So,
Gary's?
4, yep.
State's
So it'd be in the recorder, yeah.
And I suppose commission.
And commission, yep, commission
decide to
would
do that.
also fall into that too.
But you have not figured it in this yet, number,
Um,
because it's actually less than it was last year. Or what am I
Oh,
not reading right?
for ours.
Board of Commissioners, it's,
Let's see where you guys are. Yes, you are correct. I did not figure it into your guys yet. And that is, I just figured the 3% COLA. So that would bump that up a little bit, but I can get those numbers too. But yes, it would affect all the elected officials.
I don't know if it was policy or a motion or just what was decided year to year.
Yeah, I'm not
So,
sure either. So
I guess I would be all right with doing the average. Just put it into the budget and we'll approve the final budget down the road. I don't know, what do you guys think?
Yeah.
I think, yeah.
I think it makes sense.
Yep.
Want to that in?
got that. Okay, we'll do that. Okay, so do you guys want to do yours first? Or actually, ours is up next, the auditor treasurer. So we'll do that one first, since
Okay.
that's on the screen.
Get the painful one out of the way.
Yes.
The painful one. Are you going to be hard on me?
Okay, so, much like actually the tax director, the only things that went up on ours is salary. However, depending on what happens with the communications specialist position, that may go down because two of my people interviewed for it. So what I'm going to do is replace whichever one gets it. I'm going to replace with a I don't want to call it lower level, but a more entry level position. There you go. To maybe be more of an admin assistant, not a deputy. So that number may go down a little bit for me. Salaries. I just thought that would be a good cost savings for the county, and it would be a good opportunity for somebody else to get an entry-level position into the county with possibilities of moving up. Then professional fees, that went up a little bit, and that's because I remember last year we got permission to do the tax statements, have somebody else do them for us. And that actually also may go down a little bit depending on the cost, because we don't have to send out estimated statements anymore. The only thing we have to send out is a budget hearing notice, and we can handle that here. That would be a quick fix. So that would probably go down. I moved my travel and training down. Phone stayed the same. Postage, same as Holly. With all the legislative changes, we are now required to do different mailings throughout the year with all the changes on taxes, and the increases. So we bumped that up a little bit. Dues and memberships went down because I combined my auditor treasurer dues. Office supplies, I took those down. I think we're doing very well on that this year. Uniforms stayed the same. And office equipment, that went up, I believe $1,000, and that's just due to the increase in the cost of some of the equipment contracts that we have. So that's really the only thing that's increased on ours. And like I said, a couple of those things, I'm pretty sure salaries will go down and professional fees as well. And I did, one thing I did do is you guys had approved the IT budget, and instead of adding it into mine, I decided to make its own department right away. That way we didn't get confused. Like I know when we started with Luann, we mixed hers with Desi's, and it was kind of confusing to separate the two. So I made that budget by itself. So we can go over that later too. Okay, the next up is I have the commissioner's budget. And like I said, I will go back and refigure that and then present that again at the next meeting so that the next meeting, August 6th, will be the one where we have to present and finalize our preliminary budgets because it has to be done by the 10th of August. So I will get this one changed too and re-present then for your guys' budgets for salary. Travel, I bumped that up for you guys because you guys are doing a lot more traveling than you have in the past, a lot more mileage vouchers are being turned in, so I bumped that one up. Professional fees I took out of there. We haven't used that in the last 3 years, so I just took it out. Telephone stayed the same. Dues and memberships stayed the same. I put uniforms in there for you guys. That way, if you guys are going to different conferences or like you did the commissioner's dinner, if there's something that, like, I don't know if you guys all want t-shirts or polos or something like that, just let me know and I can get those for you to represent the county. And then office equipment, I just left the same. Some years we use that for you guys and some years we don't. So you guys pretty much only went up like $4,000 because of the differences where we went up and down, but I will adjust the salaries to include that merit as well. Okay,
Uniforms, you can get those aprons for the
that's right.
community.
Yep, community dinner.
Yeah, supper, we
Yeah.
all got aprons.
Yep.
You don't get a grease spot from the beans or what?
Beans all over my belly. Gotta have the full ones. You can't just have the-
Not the little ones. All right, so the next budget is the coroner. His has not really changed a lot. We don't per se pay his salary, we just pay him by coroner calls. Travel stayed the same for him, telephone stayed the same, office supplies stayed the same. He doesn't really spend a lot of that. Vehicle and gas went up a little bit, and I know that can vary each year depending on the amount of calls, so I just kind of bumped it up a little bit. Coroner calls stayed the same. Autopsies, we always leave that in there whether it's used or not. And then a radio, he has a radio in his vehicle. I can't remember, I think sheriff's office or emergency manager, one of the two got him a radio. So I put $750 in there for him for any incidentals if he needed to fix that. Or any upgrades. I don't really know how those work, but.
Do you know what we pay now for a call, a coroner call?
Gosh, Tracy, I forget. I know we bumped it. It was $250 for the longest time. I think we went to $400 for coroner calls now. I can double check that for you, but I remember last fall we bumped that up for him.
Okay. Do we know, we provided the vehicle, he's also the Stark County coroner. Do they reimburse us anything?
They do. Yep.
Okay.
We get reimbursed for mileage and calls from them too.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you,
Okay.
Sally.
Now the big one, elections. So this year we have, 2026 is an election year, and there is quite a few legislative changes for mailing the supplies that we need, publications. So I tried to leave election workers the same as it was in '24. Pretty close to that. Professional fees, same thing. Travel, I bumped that up a little bit, and that is for like when Janet and I go to trainings, election training, and this year will be a big one because we are getting new election software. So there's going to be trainings when Jenny, Janet, and I have to go for training on learning how to use that. Printing and publishing, that didn't go up too much for us. Postage went up a little. Office supplies stayed the same. Election supplies, figured 7,500, but in 2024, I replenished a lot of our election supplies. So, and those will last for a long time. So I tried not to go up. And then office equipment just kind of kept it the same. That's kind of like for small incidental things. The biggest thing that we have this year, and I'm going to try to use what I budgeted in 2025, is we have to get all new envelopes because there's some wording that the legislator said that had to be on the envelopes as far as when we mail out our ballots and our applications. So I'm going to try to use the money that I budgeted this year. They're going to open up a window for us in October where I can order those ahead of time. So I'm going to try to order those ahead of time and use part of that budget. So I'm anticipating that I'm not going to use all of what I budgeted. I think that'll be pared down a lot, which will make it easier in 28 because we'll be able to see what we really had to spend. But the biggest thing that's went up is the election worker fees and travel, and that's due to adding the 2 extra polling locations when we added Mandaree and Halliday.
We pay election workers $20 an hour?
$20 an hour. Yep. And then their mileage. And that's for training too, because there's mandatory training for the primary and the general. Even if you use the same election workers, they have to come back for any updates. So that's a big one this year. Alrighty, and the last one, I think. Oh, no, I have two more. Superintendent of schools, that one did not change at all. Travel and training I left because you just never know when somebody wants to annex. So then we would have to call the board back to hold a meeting. Dues and memberships are the same. And then the miscellaneous line, we always help pay for the spelling bee in Kildare. So that's what that $2,000 is used for. So no changes on superintendent of schools at all.
Do we still do the math counts?
I think,
program?
yeah, that's
that's
part of that
yeah.
too. Yeah, math counts and spelling bee. All right, and the last one I have for our area is the IT coordinator. And I budgeted, you'll see 84,000 for the salary, and that is due to the fact that after the individual goes, we are requiring that they go to classes. There's some certain ones that the state offers that we have to pay for, but once he completes all of those classes, he gets a 50-cent bump for each class that he completes. So the possibility by the end of 2026 would be 84,000. Professional fees, that again, I put at 4,000 for the required classes. So next year that would probably go down. The travel and training is to provide mileage and food reimbursements, things like that. The cell phone, dues and memberships, I didn't put anything because I'm not sure what's out there. Office supplies, same. I'm just kind of guesstimating. I don't know what we would need to set that up. So I also put a miscellaneous in there. Then office equipment. I know that individual would probably need a printer and things like that. So that is a possibility that budget would go down as well, just depending on what they need. That's kind of like when we started communications. We're just kind of guessing basically what we're going to need on that one. So that could also vary quite a bit depending on what he actually uses, how much the classes are, where they're at, can they be taken virtually, that kind of thing. So we're just kind of, and again, we put that in its own budget because the intent with this is to turn it into its own department. It's just under the auditor at this point, and at some point it's going to become its own department. And that is all I have for mine. So pretty much brings us to the state's attorney after lunch.
Any chance we can get her in here?
Maybe. Okay. That
Thanks.
would be great. Then we could just do that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, you better have ice cream, because it's
So as we're going through all these, we see the salaries, but like the insurances and the retirements and all that doesn't hit a line item.
Office equipment, we are still good on that. We don't anticipate we'll need any additional other than the 5,000 we requested. The victim witness, that's pretty much will remain the same as well. We've been doing good with any resources and working with Dickinson, their victim advocate, and other ends down in Stark County. So a lot of that, we're just still requesting the 5,000. It's for anything that we need to do up here on our part. And as I indicated, the unreimbursable trial expenses, we had budgeted for about 35,000, and that should remain the same as well on that. And with regard to salaries or the increase, the reason for that is that we've had an increase in severity of cases. It's anticipation we do have some upcoming trial cases. We also have a Supreme Court appeals that's actually included in the professional fees because we do have someone who's working on that with the special prosecutor. So that was one of the reasons we asked for a little bit more money on the professionals, because that's where that comes out of my budget as far as that. And of course, that was one of the first cases where we had to set precedent on that. It was a case involving sexsomnia. There's also been an influx of search warrants, some new felony AA cases involving children and civil issues. We have an influx in bond hearings and amount of evidence as well. That has significantly increased with that, like the size and usage. And of course, there's a lot of different things we're working with NRG as well, because we're just, if there's going to be an increase in office equipment or storage, we're going to need to work with the auditor, because I think we're almost at capacity again because of how we intake the evidence, how we store it. And I think, and if we do reach that board, then we would probably come back and, just ask for an increase. But at the time, we've definitely had a surplus in that. And pretty much as far as for my assistant state's attorney, Pat Merriman, we had humbly put him or at a lower level where he wanted to make sure that he had the time and what his schedule was going to be like. And therefore, that's why we'd be requesting an increase with him, because he's also going to be doing and working with some of the agencies as far as trying to maybe provide some training from our office as well with law enforcement. But also he is here twice a week. He's actually has a presence as well. And he was also going to be helping as far as taking some of the trials so that we can kind of work side by side on that. And that's kind of pretty much, I guess, why we are, how we arrived at our budget and our numbers.
So with Assistant Attorney Merriman, it's a matter of putting him to where, for the time he's putting in and the training he'll be doing.
Yes.
So what was started out at 72,000 was just basically to see how things are going to go temporarily until.
Yes.
So this is more than the COLA. Well, he's actually contract, so.
Right.
A little bit different. The COLA wouldn't necessarily apply to his salary.
Correct.
But how many hours does he spend here working with the county?
Well, he's in here on Thursdays and Fridays, full days. But then also all of the officers, and including BCI and all the agencies, they all have his cell phone number. They contact him and continue to contact him at any point, just as much as for myself. He's involved a lot more in the administration in the cases. He's involved in the search warrants. He gets, so he's available to the deputies. He's available to you commissioners. He's available for any kind of questions as far as just as much as I am. So, I mean, he has a lot more presence than what he's willing to give this county a lot more than just kind of like little or part-time. He's going to probably be having more of a more than half-time or 3/4 because he is even today, and other days where he's not physically present here, he is available and he does work with the office by email, by telephone. And I'm sure some of you have reached out to him on certain things as far as, with the civil matters or road department or anything that he's willing to do. And he's also available to the tax department as well when we ask questions on easements or we ask on deeds and other things that he is well versed in.
Chris?
Go ahead, Pat.
Go ahead, Pat.
Thank you, ma'am. One of the things, folks, that we're having to look at really dramatically, your county has had one heck of an increase in violent crime. Just since I've been here in March, besides the Barrett case, I found the expert on that one and assisted John as much as I could before I got sick. But we have had a rape case. I think the chief of police, Chief Avalos, would tell you that I helped them a lot. We have a confession in that one. We just pled out another sex offender, a child molester, to a 20-year hit because of the Barrett case. And then we had this incident a couple of weeks ago where a 26-year-old crushed the skull of a 4-month-old child. And I'm not trying to blow my own horn here, but I think our office was instrumental in helping us set that matter up for a fast disposition. He confessed also. I would also point out, we get contacted weekly by the North Dakota Supreme Court. And folks, if you aren't up on the problems that some of the counties are having, like Grant and some of the other ones, we are losing. Where when I came up here in 2013, we would have somebody, an attorney die maybe a couple of times a year. We're at 2 or 3 deaths a month now. And there is real concern in the state legislature about the fact that we may have to go to a situation. Fortunately, we have Zoom and electronic communication where I can do this. But I will tell you this, Dunn County and Hettinger County are not the only 2 counties I've been operating in. I have been special prosecutor practically around the state. And since my good friend Jim Hope passed away right after I had my incident, I'm getting calls from all over the state. So what's happening is I think you're going to have to see in smaller counties, multi-jurisdictional cooperation between entities. I think that Dunn County, again, not to blow the horn here, but I think Chris is doing what is coming in the future for most of the small counties. Guys, we've been trying to recruit a partner here in our firm for the last 6 years and have had 0 luck. And I just got through talking to my partner this morning. He was informed that in the small outlying counties in North Dakota, they're having 10 times more problems than they're having in places like Fargo and Bismarck. All the kids that are going to law school here are not staying in North Dakota. They're leaving for whatever reason. And if you didn't pay attention to the bar pass results in July, it was only 40%. The reason I bring this up is it is a critical shortage of lawyers with experience. And I was just told by the Attorney General that I am the oldest practicing prosecutor in the state, which, I don't know, Bob, you could probably speak to this better than me. Makes me feel old. But the bottom line is this is not going to be unusual in the future. And, we don't have the crime problem you folks have up there. But with this ability to talk to these guys 24/7, and when we talk about training, we're talking about on-site. Post has approved me to teach any course that's listed on my resume. And I just had an old student of mine come up and interview with our sheriff and the chief of police in Killdeer, and he's a 20-year veteran. We're trying to assist you as best we can. It's just that my doc wants me to watch the stress level So I'm having to prioritize, and you know the drill, scarcity makes the price go up. So, I guess that's all I got to say about that, unless somebody's got a question or two.
Thanks, Pat.
Yes, ma'am.
Comparison, what did we cost when he? A month.
72,000, I guess.
And then we more recently had budgeted for him to be at 96 because he was actually doing a lot more than part-time. And I think that was calculated at about 3/4 as well. And he actually was more, I guess, he did a lot remote, and then sometimes, if he needed to do some hearings down here, he was also doing some commission meetings and whatnot. And so with this, with Attorney Merriman, he's actually down here for 2 days a week, and he's also available. So it's pretty much, that's why we were requesting. He kind of assumed that, because as far as the what Attorney Sundin was at, they're pretty much matched in pretty much experience and at their skill level. So
I don't have an issue with the adjustment for the Assistant State's Attorney's salary. I believe if Ross were still here, we'd be looking at that as well, moving forward. So. Any questions? Not. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioners. Thank you, Pat.
Have a good day, folks. You
Thanks.
betcha.
Have a good day. Was that it?
Can I just say
Yeah.
one thing,
Yep,
Tracy?
go ahead.
I want to let you guys know that I have scheduled the final budget hearing for October 1st. We have to have it done by the 10th, and so we'll have to do it at the first meeting because we won't make it at the second. We won't make our deadline. So I just wanted to let you guys know that's our final one. At next, on August 6th, I'll be presenting our county budget. Now that I have all of these numbers, I can get all of that starting to move. So I'll present that next time.
One thing too, I'd like to get, I know Terry's, but try to get a, like I said earlier, we've got some discrepancy in the road department wages. I'd really like to look at them. I'd like to see them wages, what we're paying and stuff, and just kind of look at them, because people have been voicing their concerns to me, and I don't want to let them concerns go unheard, because I just need to know where we're at. So.
That, I think you need to be sure to sit down and work with Desi and because we have that pay scale set up and based on their banding and where they fall. Rather than just coming and here's the salary adjustment, work with HR.
I get that. I get that very well. And now that you brought that up, I think there's lots of people that have heartburn with the Gallagher study. I know some of the people really like it, some don't like it. So I just, every employee we got here is important as the next. So I just want to make sure everybody is happy when it comes to the 26 budget. And we can't make them all happy, but I'm just concerned about it. So.
A lot of work went into that study. We spent a lot of time. Lisa?
I just have a question. So rest of us going to evaluate that would be.
Well, that's why I need to see these wages. I haven't seen any wages, so I just got to see them for my own good, just to figure things out. And I know Terry's requested a copy of the pay from Desi, and she has not given it to him. That's 2 weeks. We wanted to kind of see it before the budget here. So, but yeah.
I think we need to take a look at everybody's wages. The road department, and everybody. And just see what they are, because I'm not really sure what, see, the state's attorney had wages everybody got, and there was another department. But as far as I don't know what your girls get in your office. Was it attached on there?
Yeah,
Maybe that was yours that was on there. I haven't had time to look at it. But I guess I'd just like to see it, what's happening, I think, with this, what we're doing right now is we got the ones that are making over 100,000 going here and the ones that are making 50,000, 60,000. They're moving like this and the other ones are, and I would like to see that myself. I'd like to see it changed. I don't know.
Yeah,
What do we-
and that's a whole lesson on how certain jobs are banded, and that was based on market studies, other counties. There's a lot of work that went into setting that up. And yeah, if you do just say a lump sum, if everybody gets $2,000, you're moving up, it creates inequity in the whole pay scale. So there's a reason that it's set up the way it is. But yeah, this would be a conversation to have with HR. I don't care what, I don't need to see what everybody makes. That's not my position. I don't think it's necessarily ours, other than we approve these budgets, and I trust that our pay scale is fair, and we should, as a whole, look at the whole county and all departments, and to keep things equitable.
I think we should do a survey monkey and get the employees what they think is right and what's wrong with it. I mean, there's some, I mean, you can talk about it all day long, but I just think we've got some issues, not saying that you don't get paid enough, or there's some of the people I think should be brought up a little bit.
Just see it.
But anyway, enough said.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Kleeman, seconded by Commissioner Olson to adjourn. Meeting adjourned. Thanks, everybody.
Alan, with that